Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Namaskar. Now we begin with our next lecture on module 1, which is Introduction to Sales and Distribution Management. And in this lecture, which is lecture 4, we will be talking about the duties and responsibilities of sales managers and the effective sales executive. So, the various topics which are covered under this are understanding the duties and responsibilities of sales managers, the understanding what an effective sales executive is, and qualifications required for sales executives. So, we will see what are the various duties and responsibilities of sales managers. We will see the qualifications required for sales executives and what is it that makes a sales executive an effective one. So, this is what we shall be discussing in this particular lecture. Now, in the previous session, we were talking about the roles and responsibilities of the sales manager. We will continue on that, but with a more focus on the kind of roles he must perform, which we will see will again vary with respect to a number of issues like the type of product sold, the characteristics of the firm, the kind of the organization, the kind of customers, etc. So, but before we begin that, a quick recap. We had talked about the planning and operating functions of the sales executives, where we talked about the planning function being more strategic and the operating functions being more tactical. And we also spoke about that the various levels of the sales organization, whether it is lower level or middle level or the top level, there is always a difference in the kind of functions people would perform, whether they would be performing more of planning functions or more of operating functions. We also spoke about the strategic role that he must play, and as a corporate member, as a team leader. So, now we will go a little deeper into the kind of duties and responsibilities a sales manager has. Now, again, the roles of the sales manager and the duties and responsibilities which he must perform will vary across firms, and it will depend upon the type of product sold. So, is it a good or a service? And we have discussed earlier that selling of services is difficult because of the characteristics which distinguish services from goods in terms of intangibility and perishability and simultaneity and heterogeneity. Again, where the kind of roles that they would perform would also depend upon the characteristic of the firm or the organization or the employer organization in terms of the size, the scale of operations, the scope of business, the type of customers they deal with, whether it is B2B or B2C or government buying or institutional buying, and the kind of organization structure, whether it is a public sector organization or a private sector organization, whether it's centralized or decentralized, whether it operates domestic or is multinational, and whether it is into, say, manufacture and sales of single products or multiple products, or it has very diverse product lines. So, the sales managers, their roles, their responsibilities, their functions will all vary. Of course, the function of a territory manager at the lower level will of course be to increase his sales and to earn huge profits for the company through planning, organizing and executing the sales related activities. Now, what are the different roles and the duties and responsibilities? We will be talking about it in greater detail now. Of course, we have given an overview in the previous session, in the last few slides of the previous session, but now we will go deeper into it and we will talk about how these duties and responsibilities are varied and very diverse based on the nature of the organization, based on the type of product that it caters to, based on the clients which it handles, and based on its scale of operations and business. Now, the first thing which the sales manager has to do is developmental selling. Now, what is developmental selling? Developmental selling is when you create new customers for a company. Developmental selling is when you sell to somebody who has not been your buyer, who has either been a non-user of the product and service, or he has been buying and using the product of your competitor. So, when you actually sell to a customer who has either not used the product at all, or if he has used the competitor's product. So, we call it developmental selling. So, creating new customers helps increase market share for a company, and this is a very important function, because it has been seen that whatever a company might do, about 5% of its customers it will lose every year. So, if it is going to lose 5% of its customers, and if it wants to increase or enlarge its market, or in fact if it wants to maintain his market share or increase his market share, it's very, very essential that he earns new customers. So, when companies earn new customers, or when they sell to non-users of a product or to their competitors' customers, we call it developmental selling. So, sales managers have this very important role to identify people, or in case of B2C, or to identify organizations in the case of B2B, who could be potential buyers of a product or service, and use their skills and capabilities to close the deal and to sell the product to them, approach them, inform, educate them about their product, about the benefit, about the features, provide demos, handle queries, make a sales presentation, handle queries, give demos, and in this way, when they would convert a non-user or your competitor's buyer into buying your product, he would be able to increase the market share, he would be able to increase the profits of the company. So, a very important role which sales managers must perform is prospecting. Prospecting here is identifying people and organizations who would be ready to buy your product, or who have the potential to buy your product, who have a need, who have the need for the product, who have the ability to pay, who would have the willingness to buy. So, the objective here is to increase your sales volume by filling the gap of customers who have either not bought from you, and sometimes you would also have to go back to those lost customers who actually used to be your customers and are no longer your customers. So, there again the sales manager must identify the lost customers and go in for finding out why they have defected, why they have stopped buying your product or service, and convince them into buying it again. So, this is one which we refer to as developmental selling. The second important responsibility which they must perform is service selling. Now, what is service selling? Service selling is when you sell more to existing customers and thereby increase your revenues and your profits. So, when you actually sell to existing customers, it is called service selling. Okay. So, you are actually contacting your current users and keeping them reminded of yourself, and in this way you practice what we call as service selling, so that the customer who buys from you continually keeps on buying from you. So, it is very important that not only do you give him the desired satisfaction, but you also provide to him after sales service, enter into good relationships with him, build trust, build goodwill, so that you can sell more to them and keep on selling to them and keep on selling more and more to them. So, potential future sales depends not only selling to new customers, but selling to existing ones as well, because again it is seen that service selling is much easier than developmental selling. Selling to your existing customers and maintaining relationships with them is much easier than converting non-users or competitors' buyers into your old fold. So, it is always, service selling is much easier and more fruitful, and so sales managers must keep this in mind, that they continually satisfy their existing customers, forge good relationships, and maintain the customer satisfaction and loyalty. So coming to this, in order to be able to continue with existing customers, it's important that you build, the companies or the sales managers build goodwill with customers, they create a good loyal base, they enter into long-term relationships, and so CRM is extremely important. With the advancement of with the technology and the telecom, and with the advent of the internet, CRM or customer relationship management has assumed importance, and maintaining relationships with customers has become much easier, not only within your own country but across countries, across continents. So selling a product to a present customer in a repeated manner requires that sales managers they create a positive and professional business relationship with the people, and either as B2B or as B2C with their customers, so that the customers, whether B2B or B2C, can trust the sales managers, they can trust the products and services, and they can trust the organization. So it's very, very important that sales managers enter into relationships both with the B2C and the B2B. It's very important to give importance to your customers, enter into such relationships, keep them reminded of yourself, and so that the customer would not defect or would not go away to another competitor. The other important responsibility of the sales manager is problem handling. Now, problem handling here meaning providing solution to customers' problems and also identifying solutions to future problems. Typically, in the case of in a case of a B2B scenario. Okay, so it's very important for sales managers, especially when they practice value-added or value-added relationships, or when they practice partnering relationships. It's very important for them to gain an insight into the kind of problems their customers are facing, their organizational clients are facing, and then provide them with solutions so that those customers can be kept in your own fold. Okay, so in case of value added relationships, and in the case of partnerships, or in the case of consultative selling, in the case of problem solving selling, it's very important that sales managers provide solutions to customers' problems and identify solutions to even potential problems. In fact, they must be ready with a product or service offering to be which would help meet the customer's potential problem. That is why they must innovate and keep innovating to be able to handle such problems with a product offering and help satisfy the client. Even in the case of B2C scenarios, it's very important that the sales manager is able to handle problems. In case a person has a need, there should be an instant solution to that need, because if we see the corollary to a need recognition is also identification of a problem. So if a person even in a B2C scenario has a problem and there is a solution which can be provided by a sales team, by an organization, so it really can be, it helps. Here is where personal selling again assumes a huge importance, where through a face-to-face interaction with the seller, the buyer is educated, informed, and persuaded that for a particular need there is a solution, and there is which can help satisfy a particular, there is a product which can help satisfy a particular problem. So customers buy a product in order to fulfill their needs, and it's a duty of the sales manager to see whether these needs are being fulfilled or not, and any problem faced by the customer needs to be resolved. Now here this problem does not only relate to the product and a benefit which the product entails, which will help solve a need, but it also relates to problems which may occur after sales. So even those problems, there could be products which are technically complex and difficult to operate, or which require regular maintenance, so in such cases also it is the responsibility of the sales manager to to assist the customers, handle technical issues or complaints, so that the customer is left happy at the end of the day. So, sales manager must be able to also find potential needs or problems of the customers, and should exhibit to customers how those needs can be met or those problems can be resolved by using the products and services. Now, another important responsibility of the sales manager is assistance and support. So, B2B customer assistance, which would involve helping channel members manage their inventory and logistics, provide promotional material for local advertising, and help them resell the products and service to final customers. So, this is to their customers. So, this is where channel members manage the inventory, and where the sales manager can help channel members manage the inventory and logistics, provide promotional material and help them resell products and service to customers. So, in a way, here the sales manager provides assistance to the trade channel members or the channel partners. The sales manager also has an important responsibility to help B2B clients and customers with product delivery, installation and after sales service. Now, in the first case, we spoke about channel members, but being helped by sales managers in a B2B scenario. While most transactions in a B2B scenario will be direct, yet there are channel partners even in a B2B purchase or transaction. So, so the assistance from the sales manager must be given to the channel members, and so that the end customer, so that the organizational client or the B2B client is taken care of in the best possible manner. In the second point, which we spoke about, helping B2B clients and customers with product delivery, installation, after sales, this is where the company is directly dealing with the client, and once presentations are made by the sales team, once queries are handled, and once a sale is a document is signed, after that it becomes the responsibility of the sales team and the sales manager to ensure that products are delivered on time, they are installed, demonstrations are given, and there is after sales service which is provided in case required. Handling customers different types of complaints, like helping them return damaged products, or such other complaints which may arise post sales, is again a responsibility of the sales managers. Okay. The other thing which comes in is B2C customer support. The sales team and the sales managers also have the responsibility to take care of B2C customers. Again, one help which they provide is to channel members to manage their inventory level and their logistics, to provide communication material or promotion material. Also, making provisions for installations and demonstrations and helping customers use products after purchase is again another important responsibility which sales members must perform. Today, most companies, especially in the case of durable products and semi-durable products, arrange for product demos and installations once the product is delivered at home. And so this is again an important role that sales managers must perform. Handling different types of complaints and after sales and related issues like warranties, guarantees and exchange is again something which sales managers must take care of. This is very, very important, because if a customer is not provided with the after sales, whether he is a B2B or a B2C customer, if after sale provisions for after sales are not present, or if they are present but not adhered to, it would lead to a negative word of mouth. On the other hand, if these things are taken care of, what would result would be a service recovery paradox, where the customer or the client will not think about the product or service malfunctioning or improperly delivered, but rather they would talk positive about how well the complaint was handled. So that is something which become advantageous for the market, for the marketer and for the company. And so it's very essential that after sales service is provided in the best possible manner. Now, sales, so in a way what we are trying to say is that salesperson's job is not over once the product is sold. He must show customers how to obtain full benefit of the product which has been purchased. They must arrange for demonstrations, installations, and whether it is in the B2B or in the B2C context. And the selling job requires dealing with customers with face to face contact. That is, so it's very important that they develop healthy personal, friendly and business relationships with everyone, so that in future these relationships would influence a buyer's decision in favor of the existing organization or the organization from which he has bought earlier. Now, even if contacts today are not face to face, as we discussed earlier, even then, because they are personalized, because they are customized, either through virtual platforms or through personal, this kind of relationship building, healthy personal, friendly and business relationships would develop, would help the marketer and the sales manager in future, because these people will be happy, they would be satisfied, they would continue patronizing the company's brand, and they would not leave the current seller. They would continue to be with the current seller. Okay. Now, another important role that the sales manager performs is they assist the market research team by providing sales managers at the branch as well as at the marketing team at the regional, zonal and corporate level with market information and feedback. So, the sales manager, they provide information to the marketing team at the regional level, at the zonal level, at the corporate level. They provide them with marketing information, they provide them with feedback, and this is very, very critical, since it helps the market research team with respect to like different types of activities of the competitor, customers' reactions to new products, existing customer complaints, potential market opportunities. So, all this goes as very vital feedback from the sales team to the branch and to the zone and to the division and to the corporate. So, the sales manager assists the market research team by providing sales managers at the branch as well as at the marketing team at the regional and zonal and corporate level with marketing information and customer feedback. So, providing marketing related information to the organization is very, very critical, and it helps the market research team, especially when information pertains to competitive activity, competitive strategies, customer likes, dislikes, customer reactions, customer complaints, and other opportunities or threats that may be surrounding the company and the external environment surrounding the company. Now, an effective sales executive, like other executives of the organization, the job of the sales executive is actually to make various sales related decisions and to observe whether other members of the unit are executing the same. And unlike the jobs of the other marketing executives, the job of the sales executives are more dynamic as well as more action oriented, with requirement of lesser planning. They are more into the implementation rather than into the planning. They are more into the tactical operations rather than into the strategic. Now, what are important qualifications for sales executives so that they can make sound decisions? They must have rich experience in selling related activities, they must have knowledge about the market, they must be aware of the objectives of the organization, whether it is either the long term objectives or short term objectives. They must be aware of the goals of the sales department. They must have the capability to conceptualize problem situations, and especially in areas where they are main decision makers, and they should be able to create an impact where on other units of the organization through their decision taking abilities and through their planning and through their implementation functions. With this we come to a conclusion of this particular lecture, and the references are Still, Kandif, Govani and Puri, Sales and Distribution Management, Pearson Education; Havaldar and Kawale, Sales and Distribution Management, Tata McGraw-Hill; Panda and Sahdev, Sales and Distribution Management, Oxford University Press; and Futrell, Fundamentals of Selling, McGraw-Hill Companies. This brings us to an end of the fourth lecture on Introduction to Sales Management. We shall continue with the next session, which will be the final lecture on this first module titled Introduction to Sales Management. Thank you.